WeatherScope.
Good evening and welcome to WeatherScope. I'm Kim Perez. We have a lot to cover tonight, including severe weather that hit Florida earlier today, plus a live report from Super Bowl 32 in San Diego. But we begin with the snow and the ice in the Northeast. And with the details, here's Jeff Morrow in the Forecast Center.
This storm, Kim, has pretty much unraveled like we thought it would, with all the precipitation overrunning the cold air in the Northeast. That cold air has been eroded pretty much along the coastal areas where the precipitation has changed over to rain. Some of that heavy, and there could be some flooding. But the main travel problems continue to be interior areas, particularly of Massachusetts at this hour, and on up into Vermont and New Hampshire, where we have sleet and freezing rain. Now, southern New Hampshire earlier in Brookline, which is very close to the Massachusetts border there in extreme southern parts of New Hampshire. They had snow, at least early today, when the precipitation first came in. Several inches accumulated. The snow you're seeing piled up there is from earlier storms. But then now it has gone over to sleet and to freezing rain eventually, and we think the travel in this part of New Hampshire will be very treacherous as we head on through the rest of this evening. Joining me now here in the Forecast Center to talk about this storm and where we go from here is senior meteorologist Colin Marquis. Looks like ice in interior New England might be the biggest problem.
I think that is the big story of the night, Jeff, from the Connecticut Valley right into southwestern New Hampshire. Looks like about 1/4 of an inch of ice so far, and we still have several more hours of icing to contend with right on through the nighttime hours.
All right, let's go ahead and see the current weather map and see where our storm is right now. Area of low pressure here centered in eastern PA and about over Philadelphia, I guess. Out ahead of that, a very strong southerly flow continues to throw that precipitation into the cold air.
Yeah, if there was a difference as far as the evolution of this storm as compared to what was forecast here, it is that the high pressure and therefore the cold air did tend to stay in a little bit longer and was a little bit more sluggish as far as being dislodged across central New England, a little bit more in the way of snow across New Hampshire and interior Maine, and that therefore we're talking about several inches of snow to come overnight, particularly for the state of Maine.
And that was good news actually for this area, which was so hard hit by the ice storm 2 weeks ago. They'll take the snow at this point.
Absolutely. If we had had another big episode of icing up there, it probably would have sent people absolutely over the edge, and that did not happen. We had several inches of snow, but that's able to be dealt with.
All right. As we saw there on the temperatures, Boston, and we have a radar here that's kind of kicking in and out, but Boston is above freezing, but that's a little bit misleading because if you head very far inland, and I'm kind of drawing where the freezing line is, anywhere north of there, the temperature is below 32 degrees. In some cases we saw still down into the teens and 20s.
Right, and I tried to mention early on areas that we're most concerned with tonight, basically from Springfield area right in the Connecticut Valley up toward Amherst, over toward Worcester and Leominster, and then up into southwestern New Hampshire, Keene, for instance, and over toward Manchester. So it's this area here. The northern suburbs of Hartford finally did go over to rain about an hour and a half ago. Bradley Field, 10 miles north in Windsor Locks, is now just plain rain.
Now there's still plenty of heavy precipitation. In fact, we're even seeing some yellows in here, which is some pretty heavy downpours, Colin. Moving into that cold air, there could be some significant ice accumulations.
That's the real problem that we foresee. The back edge is basically back across the New York City metro area, and it will be progressing to the northeast, but we still have probably 4 to 7 hours of moderate to occasionally heavy precipitation. It will be falling in the form of freezing rain across the areas mentioned.
Farther north, though, where that cold air is deeper, that's where the heavy snow is going to be. We were talking to Jim Cantori up at Stowe, Vermont, and it was mostly all snow where he was. That'll probably be the case into northern Maine, too.
Certainly looks that way. Not out of the question to be mixing in with a couple of sleet pellets from now and again, but certainly the ski areas look to receive a lot of the white gold.
All right, and I guess the last point we'll want to make here is that all that heavy rain could cause some flooding, particularly areas that got some snow, and then you get the rain on top of that, it melts, and you could have a lot of runoff.
Point well taken, and with the snow you can sometimes clog the catch basins.
Right.
So around Boston reporting moderate rain now and several more hours of moderate to heavy rain there. So you're right, could be some problems with a little bit of runoff.
All right, so we're far from done with this storm system, so we'll keep you updated on it. Thank you, Colin, for keeping us updated this evening. If you want to keep updated and you're away from your TV set, you can always check us out at our website at weather.com. Right now, let's go back to the studio, and Kim has a look at the rest of the nation's weather and an update from the Super Bowl site in San Diego.
Thanks, Jeff. Well, heavy rain and severe storms crossed portions of Florida today, and that leads our look at the rest of the nation. A confirmed tornado tore through the Indigo Mobile Home Park in Grove City, Florida this morning. Charlotte County officials say that several people reported seeing the tornado. 20 to 25 other homes are reported damaged. Now, thankfully, there are no injuries reported. That is some fantastic news. And the front that caused some of that severe weather is still moving through Florida, but the upper level energy that helped cause that severe weather is now into the Atlantic. So we're just seeing a few showers here on the map. Not a big deal at this point. Actually, we had like 5 tornadoes reported in central Florida today. Now, a few showers still here in Virginia, eastern Virginia, and eastern North Carolina, but as we talked about, mostly, well, maybe some mid and high clouds still coming in, but most of the heavy rain and the moisture is off the coast now. So some good news there. Now, here it is in Florida again, the thunderstorms in the Atlantic, a few showers still